I was super excited about BVS. I watched the first trailer and I was completely on board. Then they dropped the second trailer and I was absolutely hooked until they black screened and showed this. And right then, I knew. At that moment, I smelled greed, and it smelled like old protein shake left in a gym bag for 2 weeks. They revealed it because they wanted the 3 shot at the end, and in that one clip, they told us the conclusion to the film that we'd all been waiting for. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I boycotted the last trailer, and I avoided any reviews. Now, hands up, I did glimpse a couple of YouTube thumbnails, and the facial expression told me that things weren't looking great for BVS. In effect, it doubled down my desire to like it. I was invested because I loved Man of Steel, and this was like his younger brother. Good Friday was game day, so I treated myself to a punishing 10x10 on back squats to earn the evening's entertainment, slapped on the old blue Stratos, and took my seat in the cinema. Let's start with the good. I loved every single piece of the Batman story. I even loved the message they were trying to get over with the retelling of Bruce's origins. In all the other versions, the parents are pure victims playing defense. But here, they react with anger, and I thought that flowed beautifully into a more aggressive Batman. Bruce then saving that recently orphaned little girl in Metropolis and seeing Superman as the instrument of that orphaning reignites his own feelings of being orphaned, and it's this burning passion that we see and justifies his perspective and motivations throughout the film. And I think this is masterfully done within 20 minutes. This is excellent acting, directing and editing. The shots dwell, the emotions established. Batman kills, and yeah, that's fine by me. The writers have got the right to set up their universe any way they want to. The only rule I think they need to follow is consistency. And every line from Batman is consistent with his view of the world. Even Perry White, the moral voice actually of the writers in this film, told us the audience that, hey, this isn't 1938. Times have changed. The writers are telling us that if our superheroes are to operate in the real world setting, killing is not what separates them from the bad guys. It's the motivation for killing. Killing to protect the innocent is the mark of the hero in this universe. Bad guys kill for their own ends. And personally, I think I'm okay with that distinction. And we know Batman's a bit tapped. We can see as the audience that he's using his emotion to twist his logic. But we're going to buy into that by the ton because we're getting his emotional point of view. I like the plan they wrote for Lex. It was a truly sinister, manipulative and diabolical scheme. No more real estate, and I understood his motivations. I liked Jesse Eisenberg's performance. Yeah, true, I didn't feel it was that edge of my seat unease and menace of the Joker and Bane, but as the moving pieces of the plan are revealed throughout the film, that was quite chilling. I was totally sold on Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman so far. It's a massive stride forward, and the stoic, accented acting to me didn't come across as wooden. It came across as a distrusting, mysterious, wise, playful, very confident lady. I'm intrigued to find out more about her, and it was a total success in launching that. And I knew that I liked everybody returning from Man of Steel. All the actors did their best. This film doesn't suffer from a lack of effort overall. It suffers from probably too much effort in certain areas and just too little in others. But when the too little affects the emotional impact of the film, you're going to get some upset fans. But at the same time, visually it's incredibly entertaining. And there's so much in it visually that it's definitely going to stand the test of repeated viewings. I'm positive. It's like a Christmas meal where the turkey is succulent and perfect, the potatoes are awful and the gravy's okay. And if you've been waiting for a crimbo all year and you love meat, then that's a good dinner. But if you've gone vegetarian for the holidays, you're sulking in your room thinking no one loves you. At the same time, if you're just hungry, you don't give a damn, and there are probably a lot of audience members that are just hungry for a flick. Now I'm going to state the obvious. Assuming that you want to make a great film that's universally loved by critics and fans, and you're not just fat catting around, cash grabbing and product be damned, just because it's a superhero movie and it's not Oscar bait, then it needs to be more than just a spectacle. It needs to be a deep emotional ride too. And emotional rides need great writing, great editing, and great music. CGI is like fireworks, it's entertaining, but people emotionally connect reading books, watching plays and listening to music. That's writing, acting, and music. Films, through editing, fuse those, and this has got the potential to be by far the most powerful if well done. Now, I'm making this all up because, honestly, I don't know. But it seems to me like after Man of Steel, I can imagine that they wanted to do a Man of Steel 2. They were going to complete the storyline with a retelling of the Death of Superman story. Now, this would fit nicely with the Jesus theme that they were going for from Man of Steel and the ultimate sacrifice of giving his life to save ours and then a resurrection. But the Avengers happened. And more than that, the bank for the Avengers happened. Avengers overtook The Dark Knight Rises by $500 million, and money talks. Now, Man of Steel did better than Iron Man, which kicked off the MCU, but Warner weren't comparing it to that. They were comparing it to the Avengers, and that kicked off nearly $1 billion difference between those two films. And the studio wants to get paid. So with the Death of Superman already on the table, someone comes up with a bright idea of getting a sure enough crowd pleaser in Batman vs Superman. Take the Dark Knight Returns story, we've got a money-making goldmine. So that's now 2 scripts. But then the greed came a-calling, and desires to set up the Justice League, and solo movie spin-offs mean a third concept, not even a script, more like a post-it note was stuck on the table with it. Add Dawn of Justice. Now, it doesn't matter who decides it, that seemed to be the plan. And now you've got to get someone to put that plan in motion. And that starts with a completed script, which is either going to look like Frankenstein or Kelly LeBrock in Weird Science. Well, why is this combo script a problem? The Death of Superman is a Superman comic where Superman's the hero. The Dark Knight Returns is a Batman comic where Batman's the hero and Superman's some government lackey and definitely not the hero. Trying to combine 2 comics where Superman is simultaneously the hero and not the hero is a tough job for a good writer in the first place. Now add to that, Stage 1 of the DC Universe has produced a film, Man of Steel, that spent 2 hours and 28 minutes getting us to empathise and feel for Kal-El in a realistic world. Kal-El is written with high emotional IQ. He's a really high character. He makes tough decisions and demonstrates inspirational levels of bravery throughout the film. So, how are you going to get that character that you've already created with those attributes and get him to be not heroic in the Dark Knight Returns story arc? Then after you've pulled off that feat, how are you going to get the same non-hero to pull a 180 and be the hero at the end that I'm supposed to feel bad about dying? That's one hell of a tough writing job. Now, I think it can be done, but not the way they did it. I was very positive about Man of Steel and about the new direction that they took the character of Superman. I understood and empathised with him in that film. I saw great heroism in him, and it's a different way of representing it, but I could see it in his actions. I really liked the way Henry Cavill played him. In Batman vs Superman, I didn't find myself emotionally connecting with a character that I've already emotionally connected with. It was like looking at a friend from a few years before and thinking, you've changed. So, where do I think it went wrong for Cal? From the first appearance where he drives some guy through 2 walls and kills him dead as a hot ham with a smile on his face, to be fair. That seemed like an excessive use of power from all the options that he had to solve that problem. It seemed an unnecessary kill on a personal level, which from a story point also conveniently negated any defense of being set up. Now he can't argue, why would I kill the gods if I didn't kill the leader? Second, the way he handled it didn't ring true. Now, not that I'm opposed to killing bad guys. I love the Punisher. But this isn't in line with the character I saw at the end of Man of Steel, who was devastated when he was put in a no-win situation to kill somebody that was a genuine threat to humanity. What, 18 months later, he's smiling while splatting terrorists? Okay, but you've changed. This scene's now contradicting the trailer and every scene after it where he's got an ideological argument against Batman's vigilante tactics. And again, hypocrisy was not a trait that he brought over from Man of Steel. So now they've got a hero from the last film who seems happy to kill rather than killing as a last resort and is a hypocrite. And there's no explanation for the change. But fourth, also from a story point of view, the guards were all shot outside. Why would Superman shoot guards? With a gun? What a laborious method for a super-powered alien. That's like killing ants using a needle when you got a boot. What realistic universe of people would believe that? So, that makes no sense to me. And all of Clark's lines for the next hour preaching against the Batman to his boss or to Bruce now seem shallow no matter how well you deliver the lines. The actions of the character have proven inconsistent. Now, I know you could square that hole maybe with Clark saying, look, you kill when you have to, but the torture is too much. But he's not saying that. The words out of his mouth don't match his actions, and that's not the character that they've developed from the Man of Steel. Next, they have him foil Batman's attempts to take down the truck with the kryptonite. Clark's already said that the Bat is targeting criminals in the port or the docks. So he stops Batman going after people he's already described as criminals just to tell him, you're done. And then doesn't go and at least look at what they were up to on that truck for himself. He's impeding the vigilante and letting the bad guys get away. Now, I'm not on board with that. And letting bad guys get away isn't the mark of a hero. Now, if Clark's become a hypocrite and unheroic, that's fine. But that's such a massive departure from the first film. To keep an emotional investment, I need to know why. They then montage through save scenes, so I've got no emotional investment in the saves either. Compare that to the oil rig, the bus, the chopper pilot, the family. These are all Jeopardy saves with an emotional investment. Montage saves without people don't work for emotions. We don't even see him save the girl from the fire. There's no Jeopardy. There's no emotional connection. We've seen him save Lois twice falling in Man of Steel. That's a given. That's not a development of their relationship done here. 18 months together? You've got to have more to your relationship than 2 short scenes and a couple of saves. Do you know who we do see save the girl? Batman. And it's awesome. And it's made all the more awesome by the emotional investment of knowing that to him, saving Martha means everything. And the brutality he brings to that fight is the venting of all of the years of being tortured by not being able to save his own mother. Next, Cal isn't confiding in Lois. He's talking at her. Now, I know Henry Cavill can act well in this role, and they've got great chemistry. So that means, therefore, this is just badly written. There was a real connection between them in Man of Steel, which I just didn't see in this film. Splashing does not make an empathic bond. I mean, it makes a whole different kind of bond, but boss scenes don't make up for bad dialogue. Now, Cal pops up like a magic genie in both films to save Lois, no matter where on the planet she is. In Man of Steel, he hears Feora choking his mum, and he's there in a couple of seconds. All of a sudden, in this film, his mum's getting kidnapped, black-bagged, sat in a room, she must have said something, and Superman can't hear a thing? But more than that, he's not spending his valuable time and powers listening for her. That's never an option. His plan is, try to convince Batman with, listen, Bruce, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Then, you don't understand, blah, blah, blah. And within 2 lines, he's at...
Stay down! If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
Even in Man of Steel with the bar guy, he had a more reasoning tone. Him enduring that was heroic. But there's nothing heroic about any of his decisions in this fight. Oh, but don't fret. His super hearing conveniently comes back through the middle of the Doomsday battle, and he's hearing banging underwater. What was that? Morse code? Some kind of secret knock? My neighbours are constantly banging. I don't assume someone's being held captive next door just because I hear an odd sound. I assume miscellaneous DIY. So that's Cal's progression in the film. And then after all that, he makes a decision to fly with the kryptonite and dies. And the emotional impact of that scene was muted because of the poor setup. Is this all we can expect because it's just a superhero movie? I don't think so. You can write a great film in any genre. Audiences are devastated when Maximus dies in Gladiator. Even Michael Bay, who isn't known for his quiet and tender moments, managed to make Bruce Willis's death in Armageddon hit you right between the ventricles. The Winter Soldier is a political thriller in the superhero genre. Loved, well respected. With excellent writing, this film can have had that kind of impact. And with a Lois element and a potential great love story, this could have been a Titanic level ending. With the stories done well, you don't expect a dry eye in the place. Instead, I was underwhelmed by an event at the climax of the movie because the setup for that event through the writing wasn't effective enough. I wanted to be devastated through the funeral sequence. But the editor hopped up on caffeine, jumping backwards and forwards with setting up story for the next film, and then we just get the dirt levitation. Okay, so what's wrong with the fight? When I watch 2 people fighting in a video game, if I'm not the controller, it's mildly entertaining. And you know, I've spent my fair share of hours sitting on the couch waiting for my turn to play. But the difference between that and a great movie is that the film has an emotional connection. A fictional fight scene without the emotional connection is just a video game fight. An entertaining event, but no more. I understand Batman's reasons for fighting. His motivations. What was at stake, what he was trying to achieve. His demons. He thought he was a hunter, hunting an alien. Bruce is basically redoing Arnie and Predator on a large scale. He's training for it, he sets up his traps, and then he waits. He's going to kill the person he's decided orphaned that little girl as he was orphaned. And in doing that, he's going to save humanity. It's crazy, but I get it. But I'm not really understanding or feeling for Cal in this fight. He's lost my empathy. Not for his situation, but for his decisions. Yeah, I get the concept. Mum or Batman, one must die. But Cal's no superfool. He's smart enough to come up with a, quote, viable plan to destroy Zod's ship. In BVS, I'm wondering why he's choosing to fight rather than find his mum by, listening? She's not in a lead-filled soundproof room. She's in an abandoned warehouse somewhere in a 5-mile radius of Metropolis. I also don't understand why he's so quick to jump to violence against an adversary that's the equivalent of a 2-year-old trying to fight him. Like, you don't reason with this tone.
Stay down! If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
I also don't understand why he's not taking counsel from his partner Lois before the fight. That's the development of their relationship. These not only don't make sense to me, but they're at odds with the character that was built up from the first film. They do make sense if you're trying to crowbar a fight with weak motivation, though. Now, I don't want to quote Rotten Tomatoes like it's the Holy Grail, because it's not, but I want to use it to illustrate something. Iron Man 1, 2 and 3 range from 94 to 72%. Thor 1 and 2, 77 to 66%. Captain America 1 and 2, 79 and 89%. Avengers 1 and 2, 92 and 75%. If you make good movies, the audience will come. The money will roll in and you get respect. If you make rushed, catch-up movies, the audience will come and you'll get your money. But you'll get far more disappointment. This movie could have smashed that Batman vs Superman storyline out the park and have been an amazing movie if they stuck to that. When you sacrifice quality of story for quantity of story, you end up with too many short disconnected scenes that you never really get any emotional involvement in. It's the equivalent of me telling this story. Oh, you never guess what happened yesterday? Oh, by the way, remember, tomorrow the clocks go back. So I was gingerly walking down that hill to the park when, actually I still get that pain in my hip and it clicks. Oh, speaking of clicking, have you heard that noise at night times about 11:30? I reckon it's our neighbours. They're a strange couple. So anyway, as I walked past a tree by the water fountain, I really need to clean the burp off, that is disgusting. I saw a human torso wedged under the rhododendron bush. Now, any one of those stories might actually be really good, but this style of storytelling doesn't aid the story. Man of Steel wasn't following a chronological timeline, it was following an emotional timeline. It aided the storytelling. This is darting around like a friend with ADD. It's not a great style for BVS. Now, Batman was very well written. Is it a coincidence that the actor is also an Oscar-winning writer? In fact, Batman is so well written that when he drops that barber with the chains, I'm willing to believe that it was an awesome ass-to-grass 10-second paw squat for 50 reps and they just messed up in the editing suite. Damn editors. The audience will give you the benefit of the doubt and fill in the blanks when it's well written and they emotionally invest. But this film marks to me a step back in all the legwork that they did in Man of Steel and a scuppering of that Doomsday storyline that could have been a great Man of Steel 2. Yeah, it's a giant leap forward for the Batman, which was so well done, but Superman loses in every way in this film. Yeah, he lost the fight, he lost his life, but did Batman win because in every way in this film, maybe due to more writers, Terrio, Goya and Affleck, they were all making sure that Bat was well written, while Superman seemed to have no one willing to put in the same care to write for him. The music. I still think that they're missing something major in not having the Superman theme there in some way. Hans Zimmer's excellent in doing the fear and the darkness as he's demonstrated in the Dark Knight trilogy. But it's my opinion that the motif for Superman is much a part of Superman now to the movie audience as the S on the chest or the blue and red. It'd be like rebooting the Superman franchise and changing the suit to orange and green. I'm not saying they use John Williams' score, but Hans can adapt that. The music isn't the Donner films. The music is the auditory part of the Superman character, I think. If you play that music to anyone from like 10 to 90, they know it. It's like Jaws or Star Wars. Batman is driven by nightmares, and this is scored excellently. Superman is driven by hope, and the flight music from Man of Steel, it just needs more wings. Now these next points are just minor gripes. Now this is a realistic universe where Clark and Lois aren't bothering with that I don't know his identity, but are you telling me after 18 months Perry White and everyone doesn't know that Clark is Superman? Now, I know there are ways in the comics like he oscillates so fast so no one can see his face, and if you want to use that, well, hey, that's cool, but you kind of need to tell me. There's no point in teasing Darkseid, but forgetting the day-to-day stuff that has to make sense or at least be explained. Even if it's as silly as Perry White in a meeting saying, look, somebody get me a picture of this guy, 18 months, still no mugshot. Also, if I remember correctly, the farmer from Kansas was not the one who preached the message about saving mankind. That was Jor-El, but the line with him on the balcony with Lois seemed to misattribute that line. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't remember it word for word, but if that's just because Kevin was in the sequel and Russell wasn't, that sucks. Jonathan Kent was expressly about not saving people, keeping it secret, find out who you are, but do it in secret. It was Jonathan's actions that were heroic, though, and that was what Clark was really learning from, because we tend to learn from our parents' actions rather than their words. It was Jor-El who said, show the people of the world the symbol of hope. You can save them all. Superman is the dream of his Kryptonian father. I gave it 53% because I think it does half a film excellently. It does Batman and Wonder Woman so well, but I feel like it just dropped the ball with the Man of Steel and all the momentum that it had built up. My gut instinct on leaving the cinema was actually to give it 60, but on further reflection overnight, I dropped it to 53. And it felt harsh, but it also felt right, and I didn't know why. On second viewing, it made more sense, and this is why. This is two films. The first film is The Dark Knight Returns, and that's 50% of the film. They did Batman incredibly well, so that's half of BVS and 25%, full marks. But I think they did the Superman part of BVS really poorly. Films like Warrior and the original Rockies have pitted two men against each other, and the fight ends up with a metaphorical value that elevates it way beyond just watching boxing or MMA. This fight could have been way more than a comic book, and I'd give the Superman part of that 4 out of 25. Then you've got the death of Superman story that counts for the other 50% of the film. I think they did Lex well, they wrote him well, and he was well acted. So for the villain setup and the diabolical plan, I give that a legitimate 18 out of 25. But again, they didn't write the love story for Lois and Cal well at all. And there isn't the light and hope and happiness in their relationship that makes the tragedy and the heroism of his death all the more poignant. He's already saved the world and was willing to die, but as a man alone in Man of Steel. As a partner to someone else, that's a far greater sacrifice, and the writers didn't transmit that. And again, the Superman hero part, I give 6 out of 25, because the impact of that sacrifice could have been epic. That gives 53%. Now, I give an extra 7% for Wonder Woman, but I'm going to apply a 7% tax because the studio half did 2 films through what I can see as corporate greed and then edited them in a way that felt like a cut and paste job, as well as greenlighting a trailer that completely defeated the purpose of the main title. Setting up the Justice League could have been an awesome end credit scene, if they did them, but shoehorning it in like they did, negates it. So, that's my 53%, and it's just pure maths. Actually, it's not. It's pure subjective opinion. And even my second showing has made me realise it's liable to change. Snyder's putting so much into these films that, again, there's a real value in the rewatching. The air of these films is a little hard to get used to. I found this harder than Man of Steel, but I did enjoy it more the second time. If you loved it the first time, then you're truly lucky, because any right-minded individual wants to love a film the first and every time. I wish the stars had aligned for me that way, but even though they didn't, trying to understand why they didn't tells me a little bit more about myself and the choices that I'd like to make. And at the end of the day, isn't learning about yourself the real value of a fictional story and therefore worth every penny? So for that, I'll refund the 7%. Let's call it 60 and say, with each viewing, it's rising. Say what you want to say in the comments, babe. Let me know why you liked it, loved it, or disliked it. Hit the thumbs up, and if you like my vibe, please subscribe.